Hey there, welcome to Dr. Sunshine's Tiki Night with Mimi Lee. Thanks so much for purchasing this video. You can always buy a cocktail class at sunshineconsultingmn.com. But without further ado, let's get to Mimi. Hey Mimi, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. Ready for a Tiki Night here.
Awesome. I am ready as well. So I'm going to start off here by sharing my screen. All right. So as mentioned, these are Tiki cocktails with Mimi Lee, fun drinks to impress your friends or yourself. A little bit about me, if you don't know who I am. I used to work at Hi, Bardo, and Zenbox Izakaya. Currently a USBG Minneapolis St. Paul chapter board member and treasurer, and doing cocktail classes for fun, you know? All right, so tonight we're gonna be doing 3 different drinks. We'll be doing a Planter's Punch, a Mai Tai, and a Hurricane. I almost forgot.
Oh, I'm super excited about that, Mimi. What kind of things are the people watching this going to need, or what kind of like rums and syrups are we going to need to make all these drinks?
For sure. So you're going to need a dark rum, a light rum. You'll also want some simple syrup, some grenadine, some orgeat, some lime juice, Angostura bitters, and some soda water. And then, of course, glassware, because you need something to drink out of. So you'll need either 2 tiki mugs or 2 tall, like Collins-style glasses, and then 1 like lowball glass. A double old-fashioned would work, or whatever you want. I mean, make it fun. Don't have to go out and like buy anything in particular for this class. So
when I think about tiki, I always think about like having fun, and we're going to give everybody recipes, or you're going to give recipes, and like they're not going to have to exactly match 3/4 of an ounce of this or a teaspoon of that. I mean, you always want to make tiki fun, right?
absolutely. I mean, the goal is to, teach you like how it's quote unquote supposed to be done. But I mean, yeah, have fun with it. Like if you have an extra like plant pot and it like works for a cocktail mug, use it. No one's going to judge you. It's going to be fun. I mean, decorate it with army men, decorate it with umbrellas, throw some flowers, like put your cat on it. I don't know. Just have fun with it.
I love it. And Mimi, can I just go over a couple of things that you said to have? One of the things you said to have was grenadine. And a great way for people to make grenadine at home is to just do equal parts sugar and pomegranate juice. That's kind of the original grenadine recipe. Just warm that up till it's a syrup. And then orgeat is like a nut syrup. And you can actually just buy unsweetened almond milk and do equal parts that with sugar to make your own orgeat. I just kind of wanted to mention those things. Thanks, Mimi.
Yeah, for sure. And with this cocktail class, there will be a little recipe for my house-made orgeat that I made for this class. And it's just a really fun way to learn what goes into your syrups, and you can also just tailor the flavors to what you want. If you want it to be more floral or more sweet or more nutty, that kind of a thing. But as you mentioned, almond milk always works out really well too. It's about utilizing what you have on hand, and if you're feeling creative, why not try something?
All right, well, let's make that first drink.
Sure, so we'll jump into the Planter's Punch. I'll share my screen again here so that you can have the recipe. So you'll grab your shaker tin, or if you don't have a shaker tin, you can always use like a jar. I'm going to use a mason jar for this one. We're going to start off with 3 ounces of dark rum. And if you don't really like dark rum, you don't have to use all dark rum either. You can also, switch it up with a little bit of light rum. Again, this is all about playing with what you like and, what your guests like if you're having some friends over.
Yeah, that's what I love about tiki. And there's just so many different dark rums out there that you could use, that you could just use this same recipe with different dark rums, and it's going to come out with a different flavor profile.
Absolutely. And that's what's so much fun about it. It's like you do all the different variations you like and just play around, you know? And anytime, you maybe like quote unquote mess up, just add a little more of this, add a little more of that, and you can pretty much fix it right up. So next we're gonna add 1 ounce of simple syrup. And then we're gonna do 3/4 ounce of lime juice. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of the grenadine. And then add 3 dashes of Angostura bitters to your tin or jar. All right, and then we are gonna add some ice, and we're gonna shake this guy up. Yeah, and what's fun about shaking stuff up too is you can like dance around, talk with people, pose for pictures, practice your bartender poses, All right, so then you're gonna grab a Collins glass for this or a Tiki mug, and you're gonna pour the contents of the beverage into there. So you have the option of either pouring straight in with the ice that you already used. We call this a dirty pour. Basically, it just means that it's an already used ice. Otherwise, you can strain it over fresh ice if you like. It is best over crushed ice, but not a big deal if you don't have crushed ice. An easy place to get crushed ice if you don't want to crush your own. If you have a Sonic near you, they usually sell the pebble ice in bags. It's about like $2 to $3 a bag, and it's pretty reasonable and really great for tiki cocktails. Or you can just crush it with a hammer. That's what I did last time. So.
And Mimi, when you crush it with a hammer, what I like to do is get make sure it's clean, but get like a drying rag, and then you can put your ice in there, wrap it around, and crush it with a hammer. Because sometimes if you do it in like plastic bags, you get holes in the plastic bag. So, little bartender secret there.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes. And then, so you'll notice that the pour is a little bit short. This is where we're going to add the soda water. It's about 2 to 3 ounces of soda water, which should just be enough to just fill up to a little bit underneath the lip of the cup. And then you'll want to toss a straw in there if you like a straw. If you have some citrus, cut up some like lime wheels, some orange wheels. If you have cherries, you can do that whole thing that I'm sure you've seen on the internet. You can do like the little dolphin with a little cherry in its mouth, kind of whatever you want. I mean, most times, with garnishes, you want to use something that is in the beverage. So normally I would use lime. Unfortunately, I had to juice all my lime for this class, so I'm going to use a lemon. So please don't judge me too harshly. Mint is a great garnish as well. Also ran out of mint, but I am substituting some pineapple sage that I grew.
Mimi,
make it really fun.
Oh, nice. Mimi, one thing I like to do is when I juice my limes, I save the half shell and then put an umbrella on the half shell, so it's like an umbrella on an island. I don't know if anyone can see that.
Ooh, yeah.
I call that a lime island.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. That's awesome. Well, cheers. And taste your cocktail. See how it tastes. Oh, it's awful. No, I'm just kidding. It's really good. I need a new bartender. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I love this one.
Just teasing.
What surprises me is how balanced it is. It's still spirit forward and refreshing, but it's not overly sweet.
Yeah, that's what I really enjoy about this cocktail as well. I mean, when you're looking at the recipe, it kind of sounds like it's going to be really sweet, but it is just so well balanced. And honestly, for people who are like, oh, I don't really like tiki because it's always so like girly and sweet and like too fruity, this is a great beverage to make for them and say, hey, you know what? I can give you this really cool looking cocktail that still packs like a decent punch. Because I mean, if you remember, there's 3 ounces of rum in here. So it's quite a bit of rum.
I didn't remember.
All right. I mean, you know what they say, time flies when you're having rum.
I love that one.
I'm all about the dad jokes. All right, so give you a second to just kind of clean up your station if needed. Yeah. And then we're gonna jump into the next beverage here, which, oh, if my thing, is going to be the hurricane. Same thing, you're going to want to grab a shaker tin or a jar, whatever your preference is. And this time we're going to grab the white rum and the dark rum. So it's going to be 2 ounces of dark rum and then 2 ounces of the white rum.
Mimi, can I ask?
Sorry, what was that? Yeah, go ahead.
So when you say 2 ounces, just so people know, 2 ounces is the same thing as a quarter cup. So if you don't have like a fancy cocktail jigger like us, you can just use a graduated measuring cup, and a quarter cup is 2 ounces, and then 1/8 of a cup is 1 ounce. You can really go from there when you go down to like 3/4 and 1/2 ounce. Just wanted to share that with everybody. Me, you, and you. Hi.
Yes. Great tips, yes. And then we're going to do 2 ounces of passion fruit juice. If you couldn't find passion fruit juice and you found passion fruit syrup, I would do a slight modification of this one. And I would probably do maybe closer to like 1.5 ounces of the passion fruit syrup, and then bump up the lime juice to maybe about 3/4 of lime juice. And then too, if you have any like orange juice, sometimes that's nice to kind of add with the passion fruit juice. You know, you can always reach out to us, either Sunshine or I. You know, we're more than willing to like help you out with this, because we know that, again, you don't always have all these things on hand, or that they're just not accessible wherever you are, right? I just happen to live in the city and have more access to a lot of these like juices and syrups and whatnot. So
yeah, during our live class that you should have been a part of, but that's okay. Thanks for buying this class. During our live class, some people found it at Cub Foods, and then some people went to Mexican grocery stores where they said they found a passion fruit puree. And when they made the syrup, they just did a classic simple syrup, equal parts with the passion fruit puree. And they said it turned out great. So,
yeah. And honestly, you can always play with other flavors, right? It's all about having fun. So as I mentioned earlier, you can do orange juice. Like, you know, there was also someone in our class that didn't like passion fruit, so she had guava juice, which is also great. These are great fun variations. If you ever look up any like hurricane recipes, there's this old syrup they used to use called Fasciola. I can't pronounce it, but it's a mix of like passion fruit, pineapple, guava, papaya. Like, take all the tropical fruits and throw them in a syrup, and like that's what they would use for the hurricane. So really, you could make that syrup if you wanted, or substitute any of those things in there. I mean, you could use pineapple juice if you prefer in this one if you like. So we're going to do 1/4 ounce of lime juice and 1/4 ounce of grenadine. And just a small bartender tip, I would pour the syrup into your jigger or whatever like little cup first, because it's a little more viscous, and then pour the lime juice in that, because then it helps kind of grab some of that syrup for you. Little bartender brain action for you. Things we think about when we make your drinks. All right, so then we're going to grab some ice and throw it in our tin, and we're going to shake this bad boy up. Practice your poses. Yeah. You like dances? Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. I hope you're having as much fun as we are having doing this. All right. So then you're going to grab either a Collins glass or a Tiki mug. I do have a Angostura Tiki mug, so I'm going to be using that. We're going to, same thing again. You can either, filter or strain this and then pour it over some fresh ice, or you can do what we call a dirty pour, which is pouring straight from the tin with the ice in it. All right, and toss a straw in there, and same thing with this one. Play around with whatever garnishes you like. I'm going to do an umbrella.
Mimi, while you're garnishing, I'm just going to show everyone that I did an upside down umbrella, because I like my hurricanes to look like they actually went through a hurricane.
Yes. that makes it extra fun.
And bonus points if you get an actual hurricane glass, which is kind of like a super large,
yes,
like tulip glass, but they're very hard to find.
All right.
Oh.
And I threw some pineapple sage on mine. Cheers.
Cheers.
I love it. I love it. Cheers.
Now,
my favorite part about Tiki is when you go in for the drink that it looks like you're putting your face into like a jungle. Like I want like garnish, I want fruit. Like I'm just like putting my face into this jungle. I'm like instantly transported to a warmer place. Like I'm not January in Minnesota right now. And yeah, it's just like it's camouflage. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, there's that guy I know. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's my spouse. But like, no, I don't want him to see me at the bar. Let's hide behind this plant.
I love this cocktail so much. It's very, very spirit forward. I mean, this is one of those drinks that you serve it at a party and you tell people like, hey, just have one and see how you feel after that. Because there's 4 ounces of rum in it.
For sure. Yes, there's 4 ounces of rum, but I mean, surprisingly so, it doesn't feel like it. Like it tastes boozy, but it's not like just getting, a bunch of rum in a glass of ice. It's like, no, it's still very well balanced and you can still taste everything. Lots of fun. All right, so then we'll move into our final cocktail, which is going to be the Mai Tai. And I will share my screen again so that you guys can have that recipe. A little bartender tip. So the reason we're doing this in order of the Planter's Punch to the Hurricane to the Mai Tai, basically, like if you were behind the bar at a restaurant, this is the order that you would probably want to do the beverages because the Planter's Punch, has the grenadine and stuff in it. But then, like if you just had to like rinse your tins really quick, moving to the Hurricane is an easy transition. And then lastly, you want to do the Mai Tai last because if somebody has a nut allergy, you want to make sure the nuts are at the end so that there's no cross contamination. Just a little fun fact. But I mean, if you're at home and not allergic to anything, do it in whatever order you want. So.
I was just going to say, it's amazing the amount of things that we think of when we're bartending that I would say most people, or even you watching right now, don't think of. Or if you're a bartender, you're like, yeah, I'm thinking of a million things when I'm making a drink. And 2 of those Mimi pointed out, the washing something. So something that has a lot of sugar in it, when you pour it into your jigger, it's very viscous and it's going to stick to the edge. So if you pour that in first and then put like lime juice or put in your spirit afterwards, it'll kind of wash out that syrup. And then the other thing about the cross contaminations with nut allergies, or even if you're making an egg white drink, you're like, okay, that foam is gonna sink, so I want to shake that egg white last on a service ticket. So those are really awesome things that you're pointing out. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, I just figured, things to think about, when we can host parties again, or if you're an aspiring bartender and just want to know like those little tips. It's good to build that muscle memory, right? So, all right. So we'll move into the last beverage here, which is the Mai Tai. So again, you're going to grab your shaker tin. We are going to do 1.5 ounces of white rum. And we're going to do 3/4 ounces of orange curacao, or another orange liqueur.
Yeah, I have Tattersall Orange Crema right now, but yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Mimi, how you can have, it's just a triple sec, basically. So Grand Marnier and Cointreau, those will all work.
Yes. And then we're going to do 3/4 ounces of lime juice.
Now you're saying 3/4 of an ounce. I ran out of my pre-squeezed lime juice. So if you just do the juice of half a lime, right, that's going to get you basically 3/4 of an ounce.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do 1/2 ounce of orgeat. And I'm sure you probably see on the screen that there's also dark rum, but don't pour that in there yet. All right, so once you got that all in the shaker tin, we're gonna fill our shaker tin with ice. We'll shake this guy up. All right, so for this guy, we're gonna use our low ball. And same thing, you can either strain it over fresh ice or you can just do a straight dirty pour in there. Again, if you ever hear anybody say a dirty pour, it's not actually dirty, but I've had some people ask about that at the bar before. And then we're gonna take our ½ ounce of dark rum and we're gonna float it right on the top of our beverage to kind of give it that double color that you saw in the photo. It probably won't be as intense as the photo that was up on the screen because I think that one was a little more heavily photoshopped, but still adds good color. All right.
A big
Add
time
a little more rum to mine because it did not color enough.
A big time secret, Mimi, with the dark rum, and when you're floating it, you can take just like a spoon and just put it barely so it breaks the surface, and then pour your rum over the back side of that spoon, and that's going to help it float.
Yeah, I learned that trick when I worked at an Irish bar, actually. We used to do a lot of Irish coffees, and so you do that with the heavy cream for the top part of the float. All right, so with this guy, you don't need a straw unless you want one, and have some short straws. Same thing, you can garnish with some mint, some pineapple sage if you have it. You can garnish with a lime wheel, an orange wheel, whatever you want.
An actual wheel?
An actual wheel, yes. I mean, I did mention army men earlier, so like if you have like Lego wheels, like whatever, have fun with it. I don't know what kind of mug you have. Maybe you have one of those really cool Lego mugs and it's like, it works out well to have a little Lego guy on there. So yeah, here's your Mai Tai. Bring it over. Cheers.
Cheers. I'll hold mine up to the camera too there. You can see that one. Cheers. I just did mint because I just love a Mai Tai with mint on it and I don't want anything else to get in the way of my mint.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I love this recipe. The original Mai Tai calls for Jamaican rum and then the French agricole rum, that's RHUM. But the recipe that you give is just so much more refreshing. You get that rum punch with that, the rum punch as in like it's in your face on the top, but then under that, it's just such a nice, beautiful cocktail, kind of refreshing, almost like a daiquiri.
Absolutely. And, the thing about Tiki, in general, but the Mai Tai specifically, there's so many variations of this cocktail, right? If you go out and Google it, you'll probably find 50 in that first page, whatever. It's like, you'll find a lot of them with pineapple, like, especially if you're doing a big batch, like that's one of those things where, we'll add juice to kind of add that dilution without diluting it and trying to stretch your punch. And so you'll find all these different recipes. And this one I just really like you said, it's very clean. I also have a friend who's allergic to pineapple. So I've adopted a lot of my Tiki recipes to not have pineapple purely because she's allergic. So, she can't have them. So I want to make sure that she's able to have them.
Yeah, this is just great. I mean, all of these cocktails are just so balanced, and they all present kind of just different flavor profiles from the kind of the nutty, refreshing Mai Tai to like the guava, kind of like almost like bordering on like an Asian style flavor profile with the with your passion fruit. And then we started off, of course, with like just almost like a daiquiri with soda, right? With that Planter's Punch. It's just such a great like variation of different tiki cocktails.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, these are the variations that I really like, and adapt it to what you want to do. Like, I'd love to see any submissions of like, hey, I did this type of juice, or I decided I was gonna do bourbon instead of rum, because that works too, right? Like, I mean, try some things out. As a bartender, I love making drinks for people, but I also love seeing what people come up with, and I love like the creativity that comes behind it. Like, I love making stuff for people, but I love people to kind of guide me too. Like, when I was working behind the bar, people would be like, I don't really like rum, but I like really want a tiki drink. It's like, absolutely, tell me what you want. You want gin? I'll I'll make you a Singapore Sling. Like that's a gin-based beverage. There's so many drinks out there. It's not all rum-based, or it's not all, like pineapple-based, those types of things. It's about finding what works for you and adapting to what you need. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just such a wide variety of things to do with tiki. I know there's the port light, right, which has bourbon and I think that's passion fruit, grenadine, and mint, which is just a wonderful one. And then the Saturn, the Singapore Sling, which are both gin-based tiki cocktails. So yeah, it's just kind of endless with tiki once you start kind of getting into it.
yeah, definitely. And actually, there's a really great variation on the Singapore Sling that my roommate and I did years ago. It was the first Iron Bartender we ever did, and our punch was called Around the World in 80 Days, and we did it with tamarind. And it was a hit, actually. It was awesome. We did it with tequila too instead of gin. So just play around, right? Have fun.
So what is tamarind?
Tamarind, I guess you could consider it's a fruit technically. It kind of looks like a long bean. Um, I don't know. I guess I just like when I think tamarind, I just think of like Asia. Like there's so many Asian countries where they use tamarind for stuff, whether it's in a beverage or in a sauce, and it can go sweet or savory. It goes both ways. Like they are definitely like very spicy, savory soups with tamarind in it. But then there's also like delicious desserts that have tamarind in it. And if you're ever in Asia, you can find it. Usually it's a little bit dried up, and then you just crack it open. You kind of, it's very pulpy, and then you pull it out, and you just kind of basically chew on a little to get like the fruit pulp off of the seed, and just yeah, it's really good. I mean, if you live near United Noodle or any other Asian markets, they probably will have some on the shelves, like whether it's the fresh or even like the tamarind puree. It's really good. Try it out. I mean, it's usually pretty inexpensive too.
That's amazing. Your knowledge of all these different things is just, I can't believe it. It's just so thoroughly impressive. I definitely understand why you're part of the Cocktail Genius series. If I could just kind of move on to one other thing. I noticed that we shook all of our cocktails and we didn't stir anything. Did you want to elaborate on that at all? Like, why did we shake everything?
Yeah. So, with all of these drinks, there was citrus. That was always the rule of thumb. Like someone said, there was a rhyme that someone said. Do you remember what that rhyme was in that class?
There is a rhyme? That's awesome. Why did I not remember?
Yeah, someone had mentioned a rhyme, but basically like rule of thumb for a bartender, like when you're making drinks, like if there is citrus and like juice in there, you're gonna shake it because you want to aerate it a bit. You want to get it really nice and chilled, a little more diluted. Otherwise, like thinking like Manhattans and martinis, those are basically they're all booze. There's no citrus in them, and really those are beverages where you want to stir them because they're a little bit more delicate, if you will. Like they don't have that that like citric acid to like cut through. And so you just want to make sure that you're diluting it, making sure all the flavors of, the alcohol are coming out. Because really, like if you're drinking a martini and you don't want it to taste like the alcohol, you're probably drinking the wrong drink, to be honest, right? So
Yeah, and that's such a great point you make when you say you're diluting it, right? I noticed that when I go to most bartender conferences, one of the biggest things that bartenders say is the most important ingredient in your cocktail is water. And so when we're shaking or stirring something, we're adding water to the drink, which is really making it more potable and opening up those flavors. So that's awesome that you said that.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mimi, for teaching us those 3 cocktails. This was amazing. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or Mimi. You can find me at sunshineconsultingmn1@gmail.com, or just go to my website. I can forward anything to Mimi as well. And if you need anything else in the future, just kind of reach out to us. We're very open.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, reach out, say hey.
Yeah, Mimi, could you?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, And could you say what's your Instagram so we can join we can follow you.
Sure. So my Instagram is basically my name, but with numbers. So it's M1M1L3. So like Mimi Lee, but replace the vowels with numbers. Just find me. There should be a some dorky picture of me on there. You'll find it. Otherwise, yeah, you can follow me on Facebook too. Just reach out, say hey, like saw you on the cocktail class. Here's a cocktail that I made. Show me the stuff. Show me what you did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And follow Sunshine Consulting. That's Sunshine, and then two underscores consulting. Um, Thanks very much, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy these tiki cocktails. Hopefully, it's really hard for you to press pause right now because you've enjoyed everything Mimi has made. So, see you later.
Hi. Cheers.